So WWE has had 10 pay-per-view / premium live events, or at least bigger than TV shows in 2025. Because I'm a nerd, I'm about to rank them all from worst to best. Of course, we're going to include the Saturday night's main events in there too, because they are meant to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And that's where we start, very sadly, because some of these have been a bit weird. And we are starting with the one that went down in July, which was Goldberg's retirement. And this is kind of a hard thing to talk about, because I love that Goldberg retirement match. I genuinely did. It was one of the warm and fuzzy tum-tum moments of the year. Obviously, Goldberg versus Gunther. I think it was Goldberg's longest match since like 2003. Well, it is a different video for a different day, because WWE should not have treated Goldberg like that when he did first sign. But it's the rest of the show. Like, you only need to watch Goldberg versus Gunther, right? And all the clips they do throughout the damn thing. Everything else just did not float my boat at all. Like, Drew versus Randy should have been awesome, but it just felt, well, it was an angle match, so it kind of lacked the oomph that it would have done. While Drew McIntyre is a star regardless, I don't think he should have come back and lost, even though Logan Paul and Jelly Roll were getting into it. But that's what we were doing. We were setting up the SummerSlam 2025 match. So I'm not totally against it. But then there's Jimmy Uso versus Solo Sikoa, which is also an angle match, so that makes you raise an eyebrow. And by the time we get to Seth Rollins versus LA Knight, I mean, that just became a beast unto itself. Nobody was talking about the match afterwards. It was, is Seth Rollins injured? Is he not injured? What's going to go on with his knee? Is it going to tie into Money in the Bank? Then you get to Goldberg versus Gunther, which is very, very good. But it's just such a non-event up to that point. You don't have to watch any of it. You could have watched clips on the internet. Like, the big clip on the first match is just seeing the Jelly Roll and Logan Paul interactions. That's what WWE wanted you to take away from it. Solo versus Jimmy, or Jacob Fatu is back. That's what we wanted to take away from it. And then, Seth versus LA. If it does turn out to be a work, I am recording this before SummerSlam, well, they wanted the Seth Rollins injury to what you took away from it. And of course, you can make the argument, but Simon, it's Saturday night's main event. It should be more TV focused. Absolutely, for sure. But I'm kind of looking at this as what do I want to rewatch angle in terms of from minute one until those credit rolls and you get Paul Levesque, executive producer, whatever it was. And apart from Goldberg versus Gunther, which would be very high, I would just jump to that. I would never watch any other stuff again. That's why it does rank number 10. Or I think number 11, because I'll tell you now that we're into video, I split up WrestleMania, and you can't stop me. And there's 3 Saturday night's main event, of course, and we are going for the second one that we've had in 2025, as my brain deceives me. But yes, it was the whole, I've got it over here, CM Punk and Sami Zayn taking on Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, John Cena versus R-Truth, Jey Uso versus Logan Paul, which of course headlined, but tied into everything with John Cena and Cody Rhodes, and Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a cage, which is very fun. Because Jesse Ventura on commentary is just like, you know what, I'm going to rip apart these rules. Once again, it was all okay. I mean, I just don't have much to say about it. That's why I put it here. When I went through all these matches, I was like, well, I enjoyed John Cena versus R-Truth, right? For obvious reasons. But then soon after that, R-Truth gets fired before he comes back again. So you kind of watch it going, well, that's a bit miserable to know what's going to happen around the corner. I liked the mega tag team match, but I'm not necessarily sure it ever jumped into anything else. It was something we could have done on Raw, etc., etc. So, you know, do I need to watch it again? No, not really. Maybe we'll get to the end of those storylines, it will have more meaning, but I doubt it. Jey Uso versus Logan Paul was always going to be just there for me. Again, I think WWE knew that too, hence why we threw all the story stuff into it. I mean, it's Cody Rhodes' big return, right? Which we did there, and definitely did it too late. I watched it back before I did this video. He runs to the ring. I got to get this done. And then, of course, Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in the cage is very, very good. But Damian Priest wins, and then we just drew a line of the feud. Boop, and Drew McIntyre goes away for a while. And when he comes back, all of a sudden, he's in the main event scene, kind of, or the world title scene, and Damian Priest isn't. Wait a minute, how did that happen? I just don't have anything to say about it. It was fine for what it was. It had some good performances. I enjoyed it on the night. But in terms of staying power, well, we'll just segue into the first Saturday night's main event that we did this year. I think that's way better because of the story that it told going forward. E.g., this was Gunther versus Jey Uso. Gunther wins. I think he chokes Jey Uso out there for the 4th time. I think it was 0-4, Jey Uso's record. Who knew what was coming, right? We didn't know about the Royal Rumble. We didn't know about WrestleMania. I understand that it drew a line down the audience. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I thought seeing somebody get over in an organic way, and WWE of all people going with it, oh my gosh. Even if I wasn't on the Jey Uso yeet bandwagon, which I was, I would have just yeeted anyway. Just to change how they approach things, because now I have faith in everybody. And of course, there's going to be some guys that don't get that, do some, other fans will be saying, why don't we do this with LA Knight? I don't have an answer for you. But back in the day, Vince McMahon would never do this. It was his guys. Look at the Roman Reigns debacle. Now other people were popping up and just getting waylaid. Imagine how much better the Daniel Bryan thing would have been if it wasn't like pulling teeth every now and then. So this is why this one means more to me. You can go back and watch it, and it kind of makes you go, tee-hee-hee, I know what's going to happen. So it makes it more exciting, right? And I think that is the benefit of learning what happens after the fact. And you also get Braun Breaker versus Sheamus, which I would call an underrated match of the year. Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax is super duper fun. And this is how much has happened the first 6 months. You get Jacob Fatu versus Braun Strowman. Big men slapping man meat. So this one is just more fun. Like, you can watch all of these in isolation, or of course smash them all together and be like, oh, I'm having a good time. Oh, I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. And of course it has meaning to it as well. So they do prop up this list, and I'm pretty happy with that order. But of course, if you disagree, subscribe and let me know differently in the comments below. But I mean, I think that reflects the ratings as well. I think the first one was high. Not that I care about ratings, but there was just something about the first one that we did this year. Maybe because it was so close to the Royal Rumble and WWE still felt pretty hot. And I'm not saying that it cooled off after WrestleMania, but the Travis Scott thing absolutely rubbed some people the wrong way. And I do think you saw not a lot, because WWE is still selling out places and they're still an absolute beast. But I think some people took a break after WrestleMania, which happens. And it could be because that finish was a little bit drab. I do understand that. But yes, I would say that if you were going to start watching things back, you would leave Saturday Night's main event till last. And I actually think that means WWE is probably doing their job, right? If any of these Saturday Night's main events had been above a PLE, you could question that too. So, ipso facto, good job. However, WrestleMania is not top, so we can throw that into the bucket as well. However, I put Backlash next. And I put Backlash next because there's just some things on there. Dominic Mysterio versus Penta is fine for what it is. It's actually quite good, but it just comes and goes so fast. And by this stage, it was like, I'm not 100% sure how we're going to follow up on Dominic's Intercontinental title win. Of course, this is when we learned that Dominic Mysterio would only take on shapes, because at Money in the Bank, he would take on Octagon. So that's just what we keep doing. John Cena versus Randy Orton I enjoyed. I really, really did. And I like the R-Truth thing at the end. But once again, that's now sullied too, given what did happen. But I watched it back. I didn't think I needed this for a second time. It's strange. Backlash is completely built around the idea that we're doing John Cena versus Randy Orton one last time. And we should have done that. It was great. I was super pumped. I massively enjoyed it at the time. The bells and the whistles. I thought they paced it well. I thought they had the right amounts of nonsense. But it just did what it had to do, I suppose, that one time only. And the only match, actually, I think you really need to go back and watch is Lyra versus Becky for the Intercontinental title, because everything that we've done in 2025 for that Women's IC Championship, I would argue in many ways that's been the best booked belt, in the sense it was way down here and couldn't even make it on TV. And then those two, as well as Bayley, managed to turn it into this wonderful thing that I really hope we continue for the rest of the year, because it would be disappointment. But, I mean, there's Gunther versus Pat McAfee, which for mad, out of nowhere, we got to get Gunther on the card, but we don't know what to do until he wins that World Championship back, was interesting. Pat McAfee always impresses given his level of experience. But it is a novelty match, which is fine. You should have novelty matches. Not everything can be serious, because then nothing is serious. But it doesn't prop up the event itself, right? It'll be more something you showed someone to say, oh man, you like Pat McAfee, look what he did with this guy. And watch Pat McAfee get chopped all over the place. And everything with Michael Cole is fun. But again, Lyra versus Becky, really, really good. Whole thing built around Orton versus Cena, which I don't know, I can't explain it. I tried to sort of relink myself to it like this, as if I'm being pulled in by a magnet. And I was like, no, it was of its time, right? It did the deal, and it did it well, but then it just faded into nothingness. Anyway, my point is that's why Backlash is where it is, which props up the list at number 8, right? So it's the 8th worst, if we want to call it that, or the 8th best, depending how you want to spin it. And this is when it gets really tough, right? Because WrestleMania 41, I separated into 2 shows, just thought it'd be more fun to do that rather than push it together. And I don't know which night is better. What you need to do is go Lego on this, and I'm going to put this there, I'm going to put that there, and it would be awesome. Ultimately, number 7, I went for night 2. And I think that's unfair in many ways, because it does have one of the best opening matches of all time. It's certainly one of the best opening WrestleMania matches of all time. Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair for the Women's Championship is so good. It's never going to age unless wrestling becomes something we're not even thinking of right now. It's fantastic. It's both of its time and ahead of its time. I think it will help those guys' 3 careers for yonks and yonks to come, because it told you these are really good. It's a shame that Bianca Belair got injured, because she could have used this momentum for sure, but she'll be fine when she does eventually come back. But then, yes, you have John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, which I personally love. apart from when Travis Scott comes out, and the whole thing just nosedives. And I can also understand why before that people weren't massively into it. I mean, Cody Rhodes kind of addressed this in a few interviews. He wants to make up for it, but words to that effect. So that kind of puts it in the middle. And then, the Randy Orton, Joe Hendry stuff is awesome. Like, it's flipping great. It was an internet thing at the end of the day because it was so short. So if you're going to watch that, I think you just go find the social media clips. I mean, honestly, I couldn't be happier for Joe Hendry, who I think is totally... People listen, he didn't really capitalize on it. He just main evented a TNA show that did 7,500 people. I think he's doing okay. I like everything with the women's tag team titles, and the Becky Lynch return is cool, but again, we kind of blast through that in 24 hours. We move on to something else. I don't really need to watch that again either, which is why I've kind of put night one above it. Well, I have put night one above it, and the only reason I did this is for 3 reasons. I really like Jey Uso winning that championship. I think it's a moment. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. There's that word again. And once again, other people don't like it, that's fine. I also really like LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. I think that's a really, really good match, and I think Jacob Fatu winning the US Championship was the right thing to do. Didn't necessarily capitalize on it at the time, but everything with Solo Sikoa a few months later was good. And I love the triple threat match. Like, I really do. I think we've kind of forgotten to talk about that as much, just because it was the night one main event, and the night two main event kind of took all the conversations. The Punk versus Roman versus Seth Rollins in a battle for Paul Heyman's soul. With Paul Heyman then joining Seth Rollins, who creates his group the next night on Raw, that feels like a WrestleMania main event to me. And they just work so well together. That sequence where they all hit their finishes and people are moving out the way, plus the proper sports entertainment when Paul Heyman gets involved, I just think it kind of puts it up here. And while you do have matches like the New Day versus the Viking Raiders, which is a good match, or the War Raiders, whatever flip we call them now, it's a good match. It is. But the follow-up with the tag team titles was so like, oh, man. And we didn't push the New Day cheating enough for my money. So that kind of makes it a little bit, man, I don't know what to do with this. It's not a great WrestleMania overall. It's a very, very average, a very, very middling WrestleMania. Like, I was there and I had a good time. But again, on night two, as I kind of smashed these together, like Logan Paul versus AJ Styles, it's all right. I shouldn't say this. AJ Styles, I kind of feel like I'm just going to do what I can here. I may be wrong, but I know that AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers ever. I don't want to that's a speculative comment by me. I know nothing, right? Just when I watch it, I'm like, I know AJ can do more than this. For whatever reason, he either didn't want to or he just wanted to have a different kind of a match. He's AJ Styles. He knows way more than me. And then some people don't like Naomi versus Jade from night one. It's all right. It's fine. But I think all the best stuff came afterwards as well, which also means if you want to catch up on that, you should go watch the WrestleMania stuff. But you'll be more excited with all the Money in the Bank stuff, the crazy stuff they did. Actually, the stuff they did before WrestleMania, you could argue was better too. So obviously you do have to look at it as a whole thing. It's so difficult. I think I'd watch night one before I'd watch night two, right? So you can only pick one. That's why I put night one up there and night two down here. It would be a shame because I'd be upset. If you could just move the women's three-way into night one, it's not even a question, right? The men's three-way, awesome. That awesome. I really like the US title stuff. Dominic Mysterio winning as well is a proper moment. And the match is really, really good too. Like, it's super duper whooper fun. I still think there's more on night one, but I think it's much of a muchness. And if you told me that day two wins because of that women's triple threat, I wouldn't argue with it at all. But no, I'm going WrestleMania 41 night two, then I'm going WrestleMania 41 night one. But the fact that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 events above it, for my money, you may totally disagree, probably says it wasn't the best, because WrestleMania 40 was one of my favourite pay-per-views of last year. I think I hit a home run with that. Same with 39 and 38 Steve Austin. So that's a 3-year run of being awesome. This one, it's so difficult, because I love the John Cena entrance as well. I think that's fantastic. I'm sticking with it. WrestleMania Night 2, then WrestleMania Night 1, which means in a 5 is Night of Champions. Now, Night of Champions is super interesting, because you get CM Punk versus John Cena, which did have a lot of pump and circumstance. I start talking like an AI robot here. I like it a lot. So the pipe bomb by John Cena I thought was good. Other people didn't like it because CM Punk had to lie there like he was dead for 42 years. Get it, understand it, not going to massively worry about it. The Punk life thing, probably wouldn't have done it in hindsight. I think CM Punk is less of a gimmick dude and more of a dude that can just, I don't think he had to cut a pipe bomb promo. He talked about that recently and he was like, I didn't want to repeat history. Just talk, dude. Everything you do is a pipe bomb. He doesn't need me to tell him this, but you create pipe bombs. We're going to use that word all the time. Nothing will be as impactful as what you did in 2011 because you changed the game. But I don't know why we're talking about this. The point is, when we get to CM Punk versus John Cena, I'm into it. I'm enjoying it. I love it. It feels like a main event. It feels really, really good. Before that, Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez, where they just try and murder each other. Also really, really good. So I think it's a solid show, and I think there's a lot to take away with it, and there's a lot that you can absolutely enjoy. But if you don't want to watch CM Punk versus John Cena again, I'm not 100% sure, apart from the women's sort of, what was it, a hardcore match, a street fight, whatever, the flub. And the finish to that is amazing as well. When they do the riptide off the table, in many ways, you're like, why are you doing that? You're no higher than you would be if you were on the top rope. This makes it more dangerous, but that's why perception is reality when it comes to wrestling. You see these things, and you kind of have a bit of a freak out. With that said, you do get the king and queen of the ring finals, but again, once you know the winner, do you need to go back and watch it? I don't think so. Although Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes is a great, great match that should have ramifications down the line. And Oscar versus Jade is like totally fine. Like, I'm not going to get in on it. It's just, it's good. It's okay, right? Oscar is amazing, and I think Jade Cargill has been put in a position where she has to sell more. I don't know. I just think there are much better shows that you should watch than this. But if you did decide to watch this, I think you still have a good time, right? It's well balanced, and the thing is, though, I think here's the real issue. You can start with Kevin versus Randy and then jump straight to CM Punk and John Cena. Probably go home and have a crumpet and a cup of tea. You'll be totally fine. So it's good. I wouldn't call it great. Number 4, Money in the Bank. Obviously, it's headlined by that insane tag match, which we talked about getting set up. John Cena and Logan Paul taking on Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. I mean, really, that has been done to, well, give Cody Rhodes a victory technically over John Cena, but also tease that John Cena was going to go good guy again. I think when we look back, it will do this. I wouldn't say that's why you should go back and watch this. It's the Money in the Bank ladder matches, both which I think are awesome. And of course, Naomi wins the women's one, which is a moment in time for me because my gosh, Naomi has deserved that for a long old time. And they also kill each other during this. I really do think that both men's and women's Money in the Bank matches are really good. And Seth Rollins wins his. And, you know, that is going to tie into a whole conversation that we've already kind of hinted upon. What's he going to do? What's he not going to do? If we do pull off this kayfabe work shoot thing, it absolutely kind of changes the Money in the Bank. So that could mean that's more interesting there. But you also get Becky versus Lyra again. And anything between Becky and Lyra and Bayley should be on this list, or you should be talking about it because it's super duper whooper good. Like, they just know what they're doing and they understand the assignment. And Lyra's got to get over and we've got to make this belt feel something. So it's just a super easy show to watch because you get all of that, and the two Money in the Banks obviously sort of pivot the whole thing. I think it's got 4 matches total. By the time you get to that ridiculous main event tag, you're kind of done. If you want to be done, like, man, I've had my fill, but it's still good, right? As far as shenanigans, over the top matches go, the Money in the Bank show is just fun. And apparently the word before this was, Triple H doesn't really like the Money in the Bank matches. Well, maybe not, but in terms of revisiting things, you see a bunch of people do things that make you, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're doing this. Everybody shows out. Everybody kind of leaves feeling more like a winner than they were. And I just thought it was smart booking, really, making me sound like a nerd. Naomi winning, warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. Seth winning, absolutely. Why else would anybody have won? I said that on my predictions beforehand. I was like, the story is telling us that Seth Rollins has to win. So I appreciate the fact that WWE lent into that. And yeah, you get the Dominic Octagon match. I mean, it was made on Worlds Collide like an hour before, which is stupid, but it ties into the whole tribalism stuff that I don't want to get into here. Good. Really good in many, many ways, but there are some better. Including the Royal Rumble at number 3. A lot of this is Jey Uso winning. I just had the best time. I love the Royal Rumble anyway. And obviously Joe Hendry's in it too, so that man just batting home runs all over the place. Surprise entrant at Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. I mean, that is one of a kind. What's the dream? He lived the dream. But when it was Jey Uso and John Cena, I was like, of course John Cena is going to win. That's going to be totally fine. And then Jey Uso does it, and it was like all of a sudden this weight was lifted off my shoulders. Oh my gosh, he's popular. Therefore, he wins the Royal Rumble. In many ways, it's my other dream, because I'm a massive geek, of having someone, he's not a mid-carder Jey Uso by any stretch of the imagination. He's way bigger than that. But having someone that wasn't leading the field one, I have thought they should. The two things I've always wanted to happen in the Royal Rumble was that, and I'd like to do it with someone even lesser than. It's such a horrible term. Like a Grayson Waller wins. Why the flub not? Let's use the Royal Rumble to push him to the moon. So I think Jey Uso ticks that box. I go weird with my words. Or everyone's been thrown out and number 30 comes down, they just win. Now that would cause so many problems, but I would love it. Again, I'll do that on a different video, my stupid prediction or stupid fantasy booking for the Royal Rumble. But Jey Uso knocking out John Cena, John Cena's face, the reaction from the crowd, Jay's son getting in the ring is such a feel-good moment, man. And why do we watch wrestling for that? And I like to think the new WWE understands this. And I didn't mind Charlotte Flair winning. Charlotte Flair was very much a Seth Rollins Money in the Bank situation for me. Of course she's going to win. Why wouldn't she win? It's a shame what happened afterwards because the Tiffany Stratton feud goes off the rails. And don't get me wrong, there's other people that could have been picked here. Maybe in hindsight, Rhea Ripley wins again, and Bianca Belair. Obviously, Io Sky was the champion. She was the champion. Then we hadn't changed the belts. I don't think so. But you could have done that to tie into the triple threat match. But we did what we did. I did mention Charlotte versus Tiffany, which is also on night 1 at WrestleMania. I like it. I'm not saying it's a great match, like a 5-star classic, but it's so weird and so different that on these longer pay-per-view shows, it really makes me go, wow, I'm going to watch this. Not everything has to be perfect. Not everything has to be clean to be a good wrestling match. Sometimes you can just kick each other's ass. And I'm like, this is great. I didn't even mention the Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens ladder match, which is also brilliant. And now a little bit worrying when you look back on it, because of course Kevin Owens has to have all that stuff with his neck. I really do hope he's okay. He went through surgery recently. But you get the Winged Eagle title involved. And obviously it ties into the Satellite's main event thing they did, which we can't include on here because it's 2024. But I mean, awesome. And now I think about it, you could probably move this up a bit higher based on that alone. But I'm actually happier with my first two picks, I think, because I kind of second guessed myself. But it's an excellent match. And actually, we're going to do feuds of the year. Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes would be right up there. And this match is totally brutal. I mean, they kick each other's ass. So I like the Royal Rumble this year. There's probably been better Royal Rumbles in terms of drama. And oh my gosh, who's going to do it? And that's less so. There's more so in the women's one. But those last 5 minutes of the men's, when it's Jey Uso and flipping John Cena, and you do have a moment because you can't help it. Your brain goes, oh, you actually going to have Jey Uso win? Of course they're not. And then he does. It puts it right up here for me. It's a match I'll go back and watch. I wanted to do it before this video, Mr. Royal Rumble. I didn't have time, but I will do. And I would be excited to see that again. That's why I throw it up in 3. And number 2 is Evolution. Like, this could be recency bias because it only just happened, but I just don't think there's a bad match on the show. And I think it also, I mean, especially because JC Jane would go on to win all the championships at Slammiversary. You know, her being featured here, it's also the Blake Monroe heel turn, so that's good for NXT. Obviously, Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley is one of the best matches of the year. 5 stars, 6.25 at the Tokyo Dome. I like the Naomi cash-in because I think maybe we can do Rhea and Io again down the line where we get a quote-unquote proper finish, so we can extend this even more. Also, I'm such a Naomi fan, getting to see that moment in a match that was sort of over here as well, I just think adds so much weight to it. I just love it so much. You also get the triple threat match for the Intercontinental Women's title. I've told you how great that is, the best thing ever, and it gets me so damn excited. And every single person goes out there and they just totally smash it. Now, I'm not saying that we get to the level of the main event throughout the damn thing, but even between Becky, Lyra, and Bayley, and Io Sky, I suppose Naomi have to throw in there, and Rhea Ripley, I just think this is absolute joy. And don't forget, early on in the night, you get Naomi versus Jade Cargill. I think it's a super fun street fight. And it also means when Naomi comes out to cash in her Money in the Bank, she's just limping along. And it's those small things that get me excited. And the Battle Royal is fine. Like, I did watch that again, because I remember saying that it was okay. And then some people told me, oh man, it was really terrible. It's all right. And Stephanie Vaquer wins. And it's a shame we didn't do more with Julia's US Championship. I think that would absolutely be a down, to use my own sort of review system. But Stephanie Vaquer winning that, I think, will be a good thing. No idea who she's going to fight in Clash in Paris. I would presume Naomi, who will get through SummerSlam. But taking people you're going to push and allowing them to win somewhat big matches, although you can kind of argue it was in the background, I don't think is bad. You can watch this. It has historical purposes for obvious reasons. And given that WWE didn't book it very well, the fact they all went out there and smashed it, like Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton. I mean, having Trish Stratus on a show, how can you get mad at that? It's absolutely brilliant. It's good. It's a really, really good show. And I think there was only one other I think WWE has done better this year. And it's not just because of the reasons you're thinking, but yes, I think Elimination Chamber 2025 is the best WWE pay-per-view of 2025, because look at all the stuff we get. Now, one, you get CM Punk and John Cena having essentially their first proper match towards the end of that Elimination Chamber, and this was going to start everything, because Seth Rollins comes in, he does the stomp on CM Punk, that allows John Cena to apply the STFU, and CM Punk taps out. Now, looking back now, John Cena was about to become a massive asshole. I'll get to that turn in just 1 second. You get to the Women's Chamber. Not only does Bianca Belair win, and I'm always going to support Bianca Belair and everything she does, you get the awesome Jade Cargill return, who murders Naomi, as Naomi and Bianca Belair make a play for Emmys with their facial expressions, which are so damn entertaining. That happens minute dot, right? We're not even a minute into the thing, and we're just going. So that is superbly entertaining. So the two chamber matches are brilliant. They just are, with rightful winners. People wanted Cena to win then because he hadn't gone heel. People love Bianca Belair, and the noise for Jade and Naomi is so good, especially because Naomi gets taken out of there. It's good storytelling, because of course Naomi tried to kill Jade Cargill by throwing her through a car. But you also get that Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens in their hometown match on this thing, which again, we talked about Kevin Owens earlier. Now you're like, oh my gosh, why the hell did we do this? But it is just, it's something you will go back and watch again and again and again if you're into the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn historical, whatever what do we call it, storyline? I don't know what it was, but they've been joined at the hip forever, and They just lay everything out there. They do crazy stuff. The fans are going crazy. The finish is great. I love everything about this. Is it one of my favorite matches of the year? I think it is, especially how I feel about both characters. Like Kevin Owens, I do believe is number 3 on my all-time list. Again, I need to sit down and really think about this. But then, of course, you end with the heel turn. Now, people will say, yeah, but Simon is crap. The Rock doesn't come back and Travis Scott at WrestleMania. Totally with you. But I went back and watched it and it still made me feel all goosey-poopy. Like, was The Rock do the man of stuff? It did. It gave me all of that. The facial expressions, the way that Cody sells it, the horrible shots that he takes. It would be better at Travis Scott. I want The Rock in there because, it's such a shame he had to vanish for whatever reasons. But seeing John Cena and The Rock together does make you go, oh my gosh, it's like Thanos and Captain America teaming up or something like that. And of course, now the Travis Scott thing, oh my gosh, he's not even going to have a match. But whatever. In the moment, it is excellent. And because you do get Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and because the 2 Elimination Chamber matches are just super duper whooper good, I got no problem with it. No problem with it at all. I've missed out. I forgot to talk about the Royal Rumble 2 going back to, you get the DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns match. That elevated the Royal Rumble for me as well. But it's not as good as this. I think from start to finish, the Elimination Chamber is the most fun I've had with the WWE show in 2025. It ends in a proper WWE way with a moment and something you never thought we were going to do. John Cena going heel. You still see The Rock and John Cena together, which is still a thing. Again, we still got it. And I would rather get that, even with what some people believe to be a not very good follow-up, than not get it at all. Because we didn't know that at the time. And it's something we talked about. And it sent videos crazy. So I thought it was great. And then if you do want your hard-hitting, crazy, oh my gosh, can't believe we're doing this, you get Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Maybe for the last time ever. And if that is the case, it will put a tear in your eye. It's a really good show. And I think it's so easy to watch. Admittedly, I kind of zoomed through it a bit just because I was running out of time. But there's so many elements. I want to watch that. I want to watch this. Even within the Elimination Chamber matches themselves, they are doing things. Oh my gosh, he's going to fight him and he's going to fight him. And, CM Punk is really good in the men's one as well because he has beef with everybody in many ways. Of course, apart from John Cena, they're all buddy. That's nice too. I'm pretty confident with this. I think the Elimination Chamber is a really, really good show. And I think the only reason it gets a bit of a kick in today is because of the John Cena stuff in the aftermath. But I'm the outlier. I should get that on a t-shirt. I've liked the John Cena heel turn, but I've talked about it in other videos, so I'm not going to talk about it again. So, from worst to best, I can't remember with the months now. Satellite's main event in July, then Satellite's main event number 2 in terms of when it came, then Satellite's main event number 1 to the first one we did in 2025, then Backlash, then Mania 41 Night 2, then Mania 41 Night 1, then Night of Champions, then Money in the Bank, then Royal Rumble, then Evolution, and the best one is the Elimination Chamber number 1. So that's number 1 at the top, number 11 all the bottom, but I don't care about any of this because I care what you think. Drop it down there. You have to take all 11 of these, right? You can't go, I'm putting WrestleMania together. No, my rules, my house, may be wrong, we're doing it. I'd love to see what you do, but I'd be massively intrigued. I've probably forgotten something as I always do. But do that. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is me talking about wrestling some more. Otherwise, grillermind.com/Simon. Check it out if you're into the gym. See what they've got. It's all good stuff. If you use my code Simon, you get 10% off. It's often more because they're always doing deals, and it ships worldwide as well. Otherwise, it is patreon.com/Simon316 for watch-alongs. We're doing a bunch of these now, and it's super duper fun. Simon316 to come and say hello on all social media. Simon J. Miller on TikTok. Simon Miller for personalized videos on Cameo. ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller and SimonMiller.BigCartel.com for t-shirts. That is it. Now we rest. Have I got this wrong? Probably. Is SummerSlam going to trump these? Maybe. But I classify that as the second part of 2025. So it's out. Goodbye.